I just picked the best job offer, and it was the Waldorf Astoria in Manhattan.
How long did it take for you to go from where you started to the royal family lady?
So they handed me Beyoncé's rider, and it was like a Boston market chicken, and one of them was guacamole Doritos. I didn't know New York City very well, and I'm like looking at all these things. Like, is there a Boston market in New York City? I'm walking around in my high heels. I was going across the street, and we see this girl get hit by a car.
A special gift that we are giving listeners who are tuning into this episode, and it's a good one. Trust me, I will be cashing in on this gift. Today's guest is Jennifer Nuoffer, who is going to tell us all about climbing the corporate ladder and how she made it to the top of the Waldorf Astoria. She is here to talk corporate America and how to serve the most demanding people on earth. She has the real stories of how celebrities and the royal family travel, which are incredibly interesting. Like, you are about to be mind blown. So the gift that we are giving away this week is not just a raffle, it's not a chance to win. Every single person who wants this gift will get this gift. So now that she's a luxury travel advisor and she's gonna plan you the most bougie over the top vacation, she is waiving the full planning fee of $250, so she will plan your vacation and make sure that you are greeted with a bottle of wine or champagne upon your booking. I know this sounds like something that's not attainable or maybe going to be too expensive for you to afford, but trust me, she is doing you a huge favor by waiving this fee, making sure to hook you up, and she's going to plan something that you could never do yourself. You can cash in on this free gift by following Jen on Instagram at JJ_Nuoffer. Send her a DM that says Mike It Loud anytime between June 24th and July 1st. Jennifer, thanks so much for joining me today. I am so excited to hear all of these things that you have to share. I have, I think, more questions than I've had for anyone.
I hope that's a good thing.
Yeah, I couldn't consolidate them. I'm like, I need to know the answers to all of these because I'm just so intrigued by this life that you're living. I had no idea.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Start us off with how you got into corporate America and where this all started.
I was at Michigan State University, and I actually wanted to be a nurse.
Oh, really?
My aunt was a nurse. She delivered babies. She delivered me and my brother and sister. And I just thought that was like one of the coolest things, is to like be a nurse and deliver babies. And so I went with her to Brazil, and we did all these incredible trips and met with doctors, and, you know, kind of were like seeing how the processes are different in Brazil versus in the States.
This was in college?
This is while I was in college. Okay. And then I was going across the street. I was living in Holmes Hall, the honors dorm at Michigan State. And I was going across the street, and we see this girl get hit by a car. It was tragic. And she was fine, but she was like walking out in front of the street, in front of a bus, and a car was coming on the other side of the bus, and she gets hit.
What did you do?
Turned
Just
green.
Scream?
Threw up. I was not a first responder. I was like shaken. Like, I kind of like wandered up to the dorms, like splashed water on my face. But my roommate at the time was like ripped off her sweatshirt, like saved the day. My roommate was a business major, and I was going to be a nursing major. So after that accident, when she found out she was like gonna be a first responder, we both went to the guidance counselor's office, and I was like,
switched?
Yes, I was
Did
like,
she switch
I
to-
can't do this. She switched to nursing. Now she delivers babies in San Diego.
I love that story. That's amazing.
And I went to my counselor, and they were like, what kinds of things do you like? You know, we have lots of different options, but what do you like? Like, how do you want to live your life? And I was like, I really like to travel. I like good wine. I like going out to dinner with my parents and, you know, having like nice long dinners. And the guidance counselor like laughed, and they said, we have hospitality business here, and it's perfect for you, and you'll like love it. So that's kind of how I literally like fell into hospitality.
That is so crazy.
Isn't that
It's
crazy?
weird too that like that girl getting hit like shifted the trajectory.
Both of us.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she was fine?
She was fine. Yeah.
Where is she? You should have been like, hey, no offense, but like we really needed that.
It was wild. So I'm super thankful that
was
I found my love for hospitality.
Yes. So you went through the program, and then when you graduated, you were like, time to move, or did you get a job opportunity?
I interviewed to like every company, which was something that I think like kids should do. Like, just don't like put all your eggs in one basket. So I interviewed with all these amazing companies that Michigan State brings in. The program's really, really good. And I had like 6 interviews, and I had 6 job offers.
What year was this?
2006.
Okay. So right before the recession.
A couple years before, because I was in New York for like 2 years when that kind of all happened, or like a good year and a half.
But I remember when I was graduating, nobody was hiring because that was in like 2010.
Okay, yeah, because
So-
it happened
'cause
in,
I'm
it was
like-
2007, 2008 was like the kind of the
So
dip.
okay, good.
So I got a good job. So I had all these job offers, and I was never the girl that was like wanted to go to New York City. I just picked the best job offer, and it was the Waldorf Astoria in Manhattan, like the iconic Grand Dame hotel.
Yeah.
And they let me live on property for 3 months, eat in all the restaurants, like be Eloise at the Plaza.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. Like I had like full reign of the hotel, ate in all the restaurants. You know, you're working really, really hard and you're just saving up money to figure out where you want to live. when
Right,
you're
but
in
you
New
had
York.
all these amazing perks.
Yes. So that was really, really cool. But I would say like people need to treat interviews like it's something like they control.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean?
Instead
Like,
of I'm trying to impress you, I'm going to act like whatever it is that you want me to be.
yeah. And it gave me so much confidence. And then I think that's how I got so many job offers. And then you can pick the best one. It's not
Right.
like you have to get just one.
How long were you in New York?
I worked at the Waldorf Astoria. They hired me in like their management training program. So I got to do like 6 weeks in housekeeping, 3 weeks with the engineering team, a couple months in all of the restaurants, like tasting the menus and learning how they do their ordering. So I kind of got like the whole overview of the hotel, which was really, really cool because it's a full city block in Manhattan. And there's so many different departments. So I did that, and then eventually was in their sales department managing like their VIPs and all of their kind of corporate celebrities, royal families, any VIPs that came in and out of the hotel.
How long did it take for you to go from where you started to the royal family lady?
It was probably about 5 years.
So who was living at the Waldorf at the time? I feel like, didn't Michael Jackson live there? I mean, probably not in '06, but was there people living there?
There was people living there. Some people super famous. Every president since Herbert Hoover always stayed at that hotel anytime they were in New York City. So it was like had a very presidential feeling. But of course, yeah, Paris Hilton lived there. There was just like New York socialites that were living there too. The U.S. Department of Security lived there. Condoleezza Rice was living there at the time. That's part of the job that they got like a giant apartment. A lot of times it was like long-term residents that were there.
Instead of like someone just checking in for like the weekend.
Yeah, then they would say like, I'm filming in New York City, I need 6 months.
What was one thing when you leave college, you go directly to the Waldorf. What was something that you were like culture shocked by?
So literally one of my very first like rotations, you know, I'm fresh out of Michigan State. I barely know how to wear heels. And you had to wear like high heels, red lipstick, pearls, like the whole black suit.
A costume.
Yeah, the full thing. You had
Yeah.
to like be on stage all the time. They gave me Beyonce's rider, you know, like what a celebrity comes to the hotel and says, make sure these things are in my room.
That's what it's called?
It's called a rider.
Every single one of them has it?
Every single
Like
one.
they're like, I need 78
I want this type of coffee. Johnny Depp liked chicory flavored coffee from Louisiana, from New Orleans. And, you know, just all of these different things that they would like. I like this type of flowers. Please have them in the room. You know, don't disturb between this time and this time. I need a connecting room. Any wild thing.
So what was it called?
A rider.
Okay. So
Like
they handed
something.
you Beyonce's.
So they handed me Beyonce's rider, and it was like a Boston Market chicken, these smoked nuts or whatever it was, and one of them was guacamole Doritos. I didn't know New York City very well, and I'm like looking at all these things, like
sounds
where
like
the hell do I
something-
even go to Boston Market? Like, is there a Boston Market in New
Right.
York City? I'm walking around in my high heels. It was like July. I'm sweating, and I was in Harlem. I was in the financial district. I was in Midtown. It turns out Doritos weren't making a guacamole Dorito anymore.
I was gonna say, it
and
sounds
I
like
looked
something in
everywhere.
Europe.
I came back to the hotel like sweating. I was miserable, and
You're like, Beyonce's gonna yell at me.
exactly. And then we finally like got some off-brand, put it in a beautiful crystal bowl, and rolled it up to the room. They might even not even ever see it. You know what I mean? You're just
Yeah.
it's just something that needed to be in the room that you try to.
Accommodate.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never seen those here.
Guacamole. I feel like I've seen
Were
them
they
now,
good?
but like.
Did you eat one?
I did eat one. Of course.
Was it good?
It's delicious.
Like, this tastes like something
It's
Beyonce
amazing.
would eat.
It's
I'm
amazing.
unworthy.
Boston Market chicken and Doritos.
Yeah.
But all sorts
that's
of crazy things like that. Yeah. So that was like my culture shock. Like coming to New York, I'm like, what is a rider? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But then you have these celebrities that are paying so much money to be in the hotel, and you want them to be, to come back.
I can't even. I would still be culture shocked. I mean, we went to the Plaza in New York, but we weren't staying there. We were there for a wedding, so we had to stay where the wedding was. Not that I would be staying there anyway. That's like a dream. And I'm like, we have to go there. It's Christmas time. Like, all my Home Alone dreams right now. And we're trying to get in. It's like, they won't let anybody in. But randomly, the security guy let us in. And he's like, just run up to the bar and, like, get a drink. And I've never felt more homeless in my whole life. Like, not even just homeless, but out of place. Like, first of all, we were soaking wet because it was, like, snow raining out.
Yeah.
We had, like,
you had your
winter
street shoes on.
Yeah, we had street
Everyone
shoes
else
on.
is
We're wet.
dressed
like,
to the nines.
Slightly
for tea.
hungover from, like, whatever the dinner was we had before. Everybody had uniforms with, like, their family crest on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I needed to see this, but, like, I was culture shocked.
Yeah. No, it's a whole different world. But then once you're in it, it's,
You
so
get used to
magical.
it. What is something that you think was missing from your college education that did not prepare you for what you were stepping into that you think universities should offer?
Michigan State did an awesome job with all of preparedness, especially for hospitality. But as soon as I got to New York City, I had no idea what, like, the labor union was. And New York City is, like, famous for having just, like, a very strong labor union. So I'm a junior manager, and for example, I walked into a banquet room and moved the garbage can to another side of the room. And the next day, I'm up in human resources getting screamed at by the labor union because now that was like a union job to empty and move that trash can. And now since a manager did it, it's no longer a union job anymore. And so now
It only has to be you that move the trash now?
managers, they're trying to remove any trash removal from the banquet rooms to have managers do it now because they saw a manager do it one time.
Wait, so it's not like you moved it to a spot that was inefficient. You just did their job.
I didn't even do that. I didn't know I was doing their
were just
job.
being helpful.
I was just like, oh, this needs to go over here. A meeting's about to start. I moved it. And then, it's just like constant little tiny things like that you just have to be really, really careful of. It was the best place to start a career. I would say, I would recommend it to anyone. Like, go to a big city, feel the hustle, and, like, see what good looks like.
Yeah.
Especially when you're
'cause
young.
You moved straight. It's not like, I thought when you told me you worked for Hilton, I thought you were, like, started at, like, a Hilton and then, like, slowly moved. Like, you went straight from, like, 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And I mean, the only way I can semi-relate, which I wasn't working there, like, I did a study abroad in London. So from going from little Dexter, Michigan to London, I was like, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah.
it was so different. But I did love it. That's the only thing I can relate to. But I was not staying at the Waldorf, and I had $3.
Yeah, it was a totally different world, but it was cool to move there and, like, get that, like, hustle,
Yeah. What did your younger self have to unlearn about success stepping into this huge role? Because I feel like before you're into it, you're like, okay, this is what success looks like. This is how I think I'm supposed to act or I'm supposed to do. And then you get a reality check. Like, what's one thing you had to unlearn going into this?
I would always think of someone really successful. You think of this incredibly confident, kind of like big personality. And I think for me, being successful in corporate America, it was because you were true to yourself, because you asked the questions. You weren't scared to ask the questions.
Right.
The more questions you asked and the more authentic you were to yourself, the better you became at your job. And then the people around you respected you and trusted you more.
And the better you could serve the person.
Yes. You're not just some faceless kind of like big voice. You have to just be your authentic self and listen. I think that's another one, just like listening a lot more than you're directing. A lot of times people in leadership positions feel like they can't ask those questions, but that's how you get bad leaders, because
Right.
they don't know, how it is all the way top to bottom. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, to ask a question. No, I think so too. Because I think so many people don't ask and then they just move directionless. And it's like, I wish I would have known that. It's like, somebody probably would have told you if you just asked.
Well, like what you're doing here.
Yeah.
You're doing all of this from the ground up. And it's going to make
With
you better
no
at all of that.
experience
You're just
and
because you're
knowledge.
learning and you're learning and you're learning and you're like want to do more. And that's like, then you're going to be really good at it.
No, I think that's a really good advice. So celebrity stories, who's the easiest to deal with and who's the most difficult?
Matt Damon was one of the easiest celebrities ever.
What was on his rider?
He didn't even have one. That's probably another reason he was just so easy. He would just call room service and order a burger. You know, it was rare that celebrities called themselves. They'd have their assistant call, or, you know, you'd have it in writing. We want this delivered at this time. Like, he was just, you know, just showed
I
up.
feel like a burger.
Like a real, like just like any other guest.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I mean, royal families are a whole different thing. When the king of Saudi Arabia was sick, he came to New York City, to New York Presbyterian, for treatment. This was, I don't know, 2008, 2009. Anyway, so he comes for cancer treatment, and the hotel transformed for all the princes to live with us and to have an apartment for the king.
How many princes are there?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know exactly
A lot.
how many
so
princes
many
there were.
we lost count.
So many. Our hotel was for the princes. There was another hotel for the wives. There was another hotel for the mistresses. Just because this is like the king's delegation.
Why didn't they all? Was there not enough rooms?
Keep them all separate.
What hotels did they say? They're like, you're at the Super 8.
Like, it was
Mistress.
like the St. Regis, the Ritz-Carlton,
Okay, so
you
they
know,
were
probably some at the Plaza. So the Waldorf was like the main one where the king was staying and all the princes. I mean, just those types of requests, like change the carpet in the middle of the night.
Change the carpet?
I want red. This is too orange. Or
Carpeting?
I need my toilet a little bit higher. I feel like it's too low for me.
What?
Or like, I need.
How do you even raise that? You have to get a full new toilet with specific dimensions?
Exactly. I mean, money. You just like, they have like unlimited funds. So
oh, absolutely.
It's like you find that toilet.
And carpet?
New carpet, new rugs.
Did they give you like time in advance? Or they're like, hey, we'll be there tomorrow, change the carpet and change all your toilets?
It'd be like in the middle of the night, like, we need this done like immediately.
So did you have like contractors that you were like, yo,
yes,
bump us? They probably only work there.
Exactly.
You can't even take on another job because you're like, we needed this done yesterday.
You have to
apparently.
have people on standby all the time. The stores are on standby. They know if you have a request from a big delegation like that they're going to do it. You know, because they're not asking for a discount. They're just going to pay full price immediately. Right. So those types of things were wild. There was a really funny story. The Waldorf Astoria is so old that like it actually had the old like PBX board kind of. You could change where a phone was routed to.
You're like a telegraph lady or a telegram? What's it called?
Yeah, like in the old.
An operator.
Yes. So they had an actual like PBX board. All of the calls that came from the Saudi delegation were supposed to get routed to the butler, and then the butler would, you know, manage all of the different calls. They accidentally got routed to the king's suite. So, like,
wait, did the butler speak that language?
Yeah.
They're trying to talk to him. He's like, oh, I'm gonna screw this up.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. You speak all different languages, but all of the calls like actually went to the king's room, and everyone like knew right away what was happening. Everyone's freaking out, running around, but you're just like, how did that happen? But like, it's an old PBX board. Like,
of course it was his. It wasn't the mistress. She's like, I'll take this call. Where are we going next?
Yeah, I got this one. No, but there was just like, I mean,
what are the other royal families that have been there?
When the United Nations General Assembly meets every year in New York City, you have like the leaders and heads of state from every country. So
right. Who is the most low maintenance?
I don't know. I don't think anyone's really low maintenance for that because you need security.
Oh, right.
And
I'm just saying the one that you're like, I didn't even have to do anything for them.
There's some countries from Africa that are like trying to pay for their bill with like a suitcase full of diamonds. You know, like everything. There's other.
Did you guys take it?
No, you can't take like a bunch of blood diamonds. No. We'd like to pay with this, or like. No one was low maintenance. Some countries needed to like slaughter an animal at a certain time.
In the hotel?
It was all like religious and.
Wait, where did they slaughter them?
I don't know. I stayed out.
They're like, please.
You know me. I told you I'm queasy. I'm out of that one.
Right. No, but I'm imagining them being like, okay, we set up a room. It looks like Dexter, that show.
All
with
plastic.
a tarp or whatever.
I stayed out of that one. But you just like, you know, anything. Your wildest dreams. You had events like the United Nations General Assembly, which was very like country specific, but then you had like events like Bette Midler's Halloween party, and so then you get all these celebrities dressed up like Halloween and running through the lobby, and it was a really magical place to work. It was really
it sounds like it. Who was the funnest celebrity that would just frolic around?
I remember Heidi Klum a couple times, just seeing her in Peacock Alley and walking through. And just being really fun and bubbly and like chatting with everyone. Sarah Jessica Parker was always stop and chat and say hi and peek in the office and you know, just like really sweet.
What is your advice to someone that's working in corporate America, but not in this crazy movie that you're in? Because that's not realistic to what most people in corporate America are dealing with every day. A lot of people are working from home, or they are just working in these high demanding jobs. What do you think is helpful for them to just keep pushing forward and keep climbing in that type of space?
Yeah. I mean, the first part of like what I was talking about like is like very sexy and glamorous, but it was very corporate. Like we had to be in sales meetings at 8 a.m. every Monday. Lipstick on, full makeup, suit, you know, the nines, and you had to perform, and you really had to like set the expectation and impress your boss, and not just impress your boss, impress the rest of the team, because you're constantly in competition with other people that might
With
do a better
everybody
job
else, yeah.
than you, and you were in a sales capacity, so you're constantly competing.
For me, I think it would be hard because I am like creative. So I feel like I lean so much on my creativity and my personality, but neither of those matter in this job.
Yeah.
Which is why I could never do corporate, because my personality just isn't that. Plus, I'm not very good at keeping my mouth shut. So I don't know how people do it, but I mean, I know people all the time in corporate world that are just like, this is so stressful, and it doesn't matter how hard I work, it's not enough. And
Yeah.
it's like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, you feel like that. You do feel like that. And you have to find balance in your life. You have to make sure that the juice is worth the squeeze, right? That the reward is enough for you. And what is that? I used to call it like corporate hush money, you know, to keep you quiet and on track to do the job. You
To
know,
behave.
Like, to like drink the Kool-Aid, or like, you know, get on board with this initiative that you don't truly believe in, you know, like, so for some people it's the corporate hush money, like, you know, how much can we pay you to, you know, keep you focused and do this job? I think for other people, it's like the flexibility, especially now, you
With
know,
working
when you
from
have
home.
an awesome job or just a reliable job, but you have incredible flexibility. You have to just figure out like what is your threshold of pain, you know,
Yeah.
I guess. And honestly, you should really believe in it too. Like I really did love like,
You love the brand.
I loved the brand, and I liked all the things that were happening. But I can imagine that if you were just kind of like grinding, then you're thinking, okay, well, my job's flexible, or I like the money, and you know.
Was there a lot of men in your industry, or was it mostly women?
No, there was a ton of men. Like think about just like the hotel, all the different roles within a hotel. You have food and beverage managers, you have hotel managers, general managers, you know, director of sales and marketing. It was everything.
Did you feel like there was a difference, if they treated people differently? Or like, were you like, I'm just little Jen from Michigan, and
For
other
sure.
people, yeah, you felt that?
Yeah, for sure. One, you kind of realize that you're young and ambitious, but then people would say it in a bad way, like, "Oh, she's
You're
just
just
young
young.
and ambitious."
Yeah.
And you're like, "I thought that was a good thing. Like being young and ambitious is positive." But then
And powerful.
but then a senior member of the team or a boss would use it in like a negative way, and that's kind of a mind. Sorry.
Do you think that they ever, because I feel like this all the time, especially like we're both blonde hair, blue eyed, happy people. Like I don't come into places and be like a cloud of rain, let me grump
Yeah.
on you. And you're not either.
It's easy to have like imposter syndrome.
Oh,
Like
totally.
I don't deserve to be here. You know, when you start feeling like that, am I good enough to be here?
Especially when everybody's telling you you're not. Like
Yeah.
you're just young.
Exactly. And you really do have to, you know, they say like stand like Superman in front of a mirror. Like literally put your hand on your hips, take a big breath of air, and just stand there and tell yourself like,
I'm a bad
I
bitch.
belong. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I can do this. And I've done that so many times before presentations. You just have to like tell yourself like I put in the work, and
I deserve this.
and
I
wanna
worked
stand,
for it.
Yeah, I want to stand here. I'm gonna like stand on the stage and, you know, do my best, and I belong here.
And I'm good enough.
Yeah, I think that's important to do because sometimes people like back down.
I
or
think
they
so
feel-
many people think that, but I do think too, like, it's easy for people to shit on positive people, and you're so much like me in the sense that you're just like, okay, let's go to work today, we're gonna do all the things, I'm not gonna complain, I'm not gonna grump, I'm here for it, you know. And they're like, oh well, you're just positive because, and they give some stupid excuse, you're young or you're whatever.
Yeah,
And it's like, no, I'm just not complaining like you are.
yeah. You have to just understand the goal. Why are you here? One of my favorite quotes growing up, I did gymnastics and it was always like on the gym wall.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid that I like remember this quote that was like hanging on the gymnastics wall. That's like why the coaches put them there. But it was like, your day goes the way the corners of your mouth turn.
Yeah.
And I just like always stuck with me. I'm like, I can have a shitty day and talk shit about everyone and feel shitty about this day.
Yeah.
Or I can just like
Brush it off.
make the best of it.
And find something to be happy about.
Yes.
You left Hilton, what, like last summer?
Yep, exactly. Last summer.
But you were doing, it's like since then, so since your Waldorf New York City days, you were still doing like the Waldorf in Greece. And like, I'm always seeing you on these insane vacations. And I'm like, what? You don't look like you're just working for Hilton.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So where did it end off, and like where are you shifting to now?
So I spent that time in New York and got really good on property experience, and then moved into a corporate role. So managing the director of global luxury hotels for Hilton. So Hilton has many, many brands, 22 brands. They have 3 luxury brands. There's more now, but the main ones, Waldorf Astoria, Conrad, and LXR. So doing sales and a little bit of marketing for those luxury hotels globally. What does that mean? Really bringing in the partnership with American Express. You know, American Express has like a really good partnership with Hilton, and bringing in all these like luxury travel advisors to the hotels and showing them like what we can do. Travel advisor who books the royal family. Take a look at the Waldorf Astoria Amsterdam. This hotel's amazing. Next time the royal family mentions Amsterdam, please think of this hotel.
Right.
So you're kind of like really training travel advisors to trust your brand. I left last year because it was too much travel. I have 3 kids now. Mm-hmm. We're in Michigan.
You have 94 Sports because that's where I know you from.
1 million. We're in this Memorial Day weekend. We were in a basketball tournament and a baseball tournament.
Yep. And Jen was there with a smile. She was not frowning. Yeah.
I still really want to stay connected to travel. Now I've moved into a role of helping people plan these amazing once-in-a-lifetime trips, like, you know, 50th anniversary or any anniversary, or even just like a really big spring break with your kids. We don't get enough vacation as Americans. Mm-hmm. So when you're going to take a vacation, you want
Ball
it to
out.
be right. Yeah, yeah. And you don't want to spend like hours
planning
on the internet reading all these people's reviews. It's just it's over information.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of experience in the travel industry and knowing all these hotel people. So now I can help people just like build the best vacations.
So is this a business? Like, is it established? Do you have a name for it? How do people reach you if they're like, I need to plan a ball out trip? Jen, help me.
Yes. My business is called Luxury Representation. So helping you figure out, what are your goals of this trip? Is it just to be on the beach? Is it to get culture? Is it to do beach and bush, like a little bit of African safari and then end on a beach, you know, when you want to relax after a lot of like intense exploring. Yeah. So Luxury Representation is the company.
All right. And you've started it.
Yep.
When did you start it?
I'd say 6 months, and I've just been kind of helping friends and family with some trips, but, you know, now realize that this is something that like I'm good at. People trust me. Mm-hmm. I love this industry. I know it so well, and I want to share the.
I mean, every time I see you on vacation, I'm like, I want to travel with Jen, because I like, this is, first of all, so thought out. I feel like it's always perfectly planned. Yeah. You're always saying somewhere amazing. The agenda is just on point always. Yeah. Like, you miss nothing. Yeah. I feel like I go on vacation and I'm like, oh, I booked it 3 days ago. We never left the resort because we forgot to look at anything, and now it's time to go home.
I like lived in the industry for so long, so I met so many incredible people that, you know, are partners with travel agents. And, you know, like, obviously if you book a trip to Japan, I can't do everything, but I know people there that are, you know, gonna really, really be able to like give you some very detailed information. And you can't get that type of information if you're not like using someone. I don't want to book your vacation to the Hilton Garden Inn for your son's baseball game.
I'm gonna call you next time.
We can do that. You can do that one by yourself, but like something that's like meaningful for you, right. And that you're like, I really want to make this nice and make sure I'm doing all the right things. Like,
I love an agenda. Every time I go on a trip, like a group trip with someone, and someone has an agenda, I'm like, yes, I love that.
I used to try to turn it off sometimes because, like, I was always the girl on the girls' trip that's like, and now we'll do this, and now we'll do this.
I love going with that.
I have this reservation, and I have this.
I love those people.
Sometimes I would try to, like, turn it off because I'm like, oh, is this too much? Annoying? Maybe I'll let someone else plan this. What if no one wants to do it exactly how I want to do it? And then it'd be a total shit show. So
And
I'm
then
like,
everybody's
no, why did I turn it off? This is like what I love to do.
And you pick good places.
Yeah.
No, I love going with someone like that because I'm like, oh, good. Like, I just tell me what outfit I'm bringing and like what like time to be ready, and I'm going.
Okay, we'll go on a trip.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
go.
going with you. You bring the agenda, and I'll just get in line.
This will
Okay,
move
I'll line
to-
up. And you miss so many things when you're not planned.
Yes.
Like I've totally gone places before and been like, I didn't even know that was right up the street. Like I wish I would have known that because I would have loved to go see it, or you know.
Yeah. Or people think it's unattainable. Like, oh, I can't do that. Yes, you can. You know, you can book this VIP tour through the Coliseum and go to these special places, and a lot of times it doesn't even cost anything different. You just need to know who
Plan
to
better.
ask.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
What's a luxury travel hack that feels like a cheat code that you've used? Why doesn't everybody do this?
Use a travel advisor.
Right. Honestly, probably so accurate.
Yeah, but there's a misconception that travel advisors cost a lot. And a lot of times some people will charge you a planning fee just because there's going to be a lot of research going into it. Some do, some don't. But it doesn't cost anything more to stay at a hotel if you like book through a travel advisor. The hotels pay the travel advisor separately.
Oh, so the commission goes from them.
Yes, the commission comes from the hotel. So if you are going on a vacation and staying at a hotel and it's $1,000, you know, you could book it on your own and it would cost $1,000, or you'd book it through me and it would cost $1,000, and the hotel would pay me the commission. But they'd also give you a bottle of wine, an upgrade if it's available, maybe late checkout or early check-in. So you don't pay anything more. You get a better value, maybe a better room and amenities. You know, it's just...
That's exactly like a buyer agency.
Exactly. You want to create value.
Right.
You know, it's the money's the same. The hotel's $1,000 either way, but it's $1,000 with a better room and all these. You're creating value. Mm-hmm. You know, when you stay in a suite versus a standard room, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
That is value. There's nothing better than like a personal recommendation.
Yeah.
And then go to this restaurant and get there early and ask for this bartender.
Yeah.
You know, ChatGPT is not going to tell you all of that stuff. ChatGPT is not going to upgrade your room or send you a bottle of wine.
Right.
You know, things like that.
Yeah. Go the extra mile. More is more.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like my motto.
Who doesn't want a bottle of wine in their room? Like
I know.
I travel with the kids now, and whenever we check into a hotel room, they're like, "Where's the amenity?
They're like, Mom, there's no wine for you.
Where's
Like,
the amenity?"
no, extra is everything.
Yeah.
So are the little Nuoffer boys getting like just a bougie edge to them now?
They like nice trips for sure. I have two funny stories. We were in Park City, and we were staying at the Waldorf Astoria Park City, of course, because I was working for Hilton, and they have an incredible like chandelier at the lobby. But then I'm a hotel person, so you know I like to go check out other hotels. So we went to another luxury hotel in Park City, and it's the sense of style is like very Norwegian. It's not like as
But it's still
grand.
nice.
Oh no, it's like one of the luxury hotels. It's a really nice place in Park City, and or it was actually in Deer Valley. Mac walks in and says, "This sense of arrival, there's just a bowl of apples and some old wood. I would never stay here." He was 7, and he was like, "Our hotel has a beautiful chandelier and a beautiful big windows. I like
no
our hotel
apples.
better."
We have caviar.
He just
upon arrival.
he knows I'm like looking for all the, you know, that's why
Yeah.
I like to go to other hotels and check it out and get the vibe. He's like, apples? That's bad arrival."
That's amazing.
It was really cute.
Well,
Yeah.
I better have like a presentation when he comes over next time.
That's right.
He's like, Miss Birdie has a bag of potato chips.
Like, we need a really big floral arrangement.
Wait, what's your other funny one? John got bougie?
The moment I knew John got bougie, so I had already been, you know, living at the Waldorf and doing all this for such a long time before we got married. But on our honeymoon, we stayed at the Conrad Koh Samui, and then
Wait, where's that at? Hawaii?
Thailand.
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 Did you play with elephants?
Yes.
Was
We
it
rode
amazing?
Elephants. John was on an elephant. I was on an elephant, and then there was a little baby following us all the way through, like the jungle and in the water, and it was incredible.
I went to Thailand. We were actually thinking of going to Thailand, and then COVID hit, and
It's
it started
actually
over
so
there.
affordable too.
Yeah, once you get there, I heard it's like
Yes.
mega cheap.
It's incredible. One of the things that you do is you get like a tailored suit. You know, you go get your suit measured and you give the tailor all your measurements.
Wait, in Thailand?
Yes, you just give the tailor all of your measurements, and then anytime you need new shirts or suits, you just tell them like the fabric that you want, and then they send them to you like totally custom fit.
Oh, so you get them done over there, not like while you're there.
You get them. You go meet a tailor. They made us suits while we were there. Sometimes they just need a couple days, but then you leave your measurements
So you can call.
Yes, and then they know you. They remember you. I mean, you can always send them your new measurements if
You're like,
things
sorry,
change,
I got
but
fat.
It's kind of nice to like walk into the actual place where it's being done and
it's
meet
probably
the tailor.
so much cheaper.
It's just a cool experience because then every time you get a new suit that comes from them or a shirt with your initials and all that, you just remember that experience. It's a really cool thing to do on vacation. But yeah, Thailand, we did that. So this was the moment John turned bougie. When you walk out to the pool in at the Four Seasons, someone greets you. Which sunscreen would you like? Here's a cold washcloth, and they're putting like 6 towels on your chair, and it's very plush, and giving you some scented things, and you know all this like lemongrass ice cream. So you're like arrival at the pool is just like beautiful. They're washing your sunglasses.
I should go there. You should see my sunglasses. They're like, ma'am, what the hell happened to you?
He's been in a baseball field for a while.
Yeah.
He's been under your car seat for a minute.
Sat on.
So then we flew to Koh Samui, which is an island, the beautiful beaches, the crystal blue water. And we were staying at the Conrad Koh Samui. It was like pre-opening, so it was like just brand new and not like fully up and running. And we walked down to the pool, and the pool guy just hands us a towel. And John looks at me and is like,
"Where's my lemongrass?
What kind of shithole is this?" I'm like, "You're bougie." He's like, "I'm not gonna have to put my own towel on the chair. This needs like what? Go pick out the chair for me. Tell me where the sun's coming in. Move the umbrella. Spritz it. You know,
spritz it." I love a spritz.
A spritz.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, so those were the moments. I looked at Mac that when he said that thing about the apples in Park City, and then
you're like John
in
Jr.
Thailand. I definitely like, yeah, you see their world getting better when it comes to travel.
No, mine will be like if they're like, I love a road trip. And then I got like super tired. You know when you're driving to Florida and you get like mega tired? When the tired hits me, like I can't regroup.
No, you have to stop. Yeah.
I was like, we're about to sleep with this Fleabag Inn on the side of the highway. And my kids are like, all right. Like
There's
they're just
a time
like,
and a place for every hotel.
Sometimes you need to,
yes.
Well, yeah, maybe they need to see the Fleabag Inn.
Yes. And they have. We've
sure
done
they
road
have.
trips.
No, I know. You guys are not
There's
like.
a time and a place for it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even drive anymore because I just
No,
can't.
that's hard. I feel like driving to Florida is a rite of passage. It is a very, I don't know if it's a Midwest thing, but like we drove to Florida a lot.
Yeah. And my parents always held the TV. We had this like box TV.
Same.
And
You put the video?
Yeah. But I got car sick. I always threw up.
Oh my gosh. We had to watch it, and
it would always fall when you hit it like a
My
bump.
dad had it like bungeed.
Yeah. I've been doing these randomly for a lot of the guests, just like the this or that rapid fire, totally doesn't mean anything question, but it's just like fun and interesting.
Ready?
Okay. What's the first thing you ask a client when they want to book a jaw-dropping trip?
Why they're going on this trip? Like, is it a birthday? Is it an anniversary? Is it a girls' weekend? Like, what's the purpose of this trip? And then what's the budget?
Okay, I was gonna say, so not budget?
Yeah, but budget and purpose.
You're like, you sound excited, so the budget sounds big.
Yeah, exactly. How crazy of a trip are we talking about? Are we like around the world in a private plane, or like what are we doing?
Yeah. Okay, so what are we doing and why are we doing it?
Yes.
What's the most underrated destination for like a luxury trip? Or really any trip. What's just an underrated destination?
Instead of the word underrated, I will say just like not well known for Americans as much as we were in Sardinia last summer off the coast of Italy. It's Italian. And it is the crystal blue water. It's the Italian culture. It's where the Italians and a lot of the Europeans go to vacation.
Is it in between Italy and Greece or on the other side?
Nope, like 45-minute flight from Rome, straight.
Right, but like, okay, so if you're looking at Amalfi, is it just south of Amalfi?
North.
North of Amalfi, okay.
Mm-hmm. So the north side of Sardinia is very much like Hamptons, like very bougie, Fifth Avenue, Rodeo Drive. The south side of Sardinia is where the Italians vacation, like I was saying. Like it's a little bit more like authentic and local, some of the best beaches in the world. So I would say that is underrated in my opinion, but people just don't know about it as much.
Do you unpack into your hotel?
I fully unpack.
Me too. He's like,
Yes.
but I read that like serial killers unpack. And I'm like, I'm a serial killer.
No.
I don't want my wrinkled shit. I forget what's at the bottom. I didn't wear it. And then everything is like wet and wrinkled. I don't want that.
You know what's something I've never done, but I've always wanted to is let someone else unpack for me, like the butler or the
So they're like, I'm kind of disturbed.
or the bellman.
Who is this?
Like, but that's very common. Like, especially all the
Did you do
the
that?
Forbes 5-star hotels. Like, that's a thing. They'll unpack for you. They'll line
Like
up your
iron
clothes.
your
Like
shit?
they'll iron it. It'll be color coordinated in your closet. And
See
they'll
this
totally,
luxury I don't even know about.
I've never actually given up that control to
I
let
would.
someone else unpack for me.
They might
but
judge, like, why is this woman wearing a piece of string?
what drawer does this go in? Is
Yeah.
this dental floss?
I don't want to live out my suitcase. I hate that.
No, and then it's just messy. And
Everything's wrinkled. No, I'm not into
I'm
that.
an unpacker. Maybe I'm a serial killer. Who
Me
knows?
too. What's the bougiest thing that you've ever had comped?
If I'm just booking it. Oh, like just things that my clients have gotten.
Yeah.
Champagne, dinners.
What about a robe? I love a robe.
Ooh, definitely a robe.
You can comp a robe.
For sure. My kids ask for the robes too. And if
I love the
a lot of
robes.
times
They're
at
so
hotels,
great.
if you call, they'll give you a kid-size robe, so your kids
Really?
can wear robes. There was even the Conrad in Washington D.C. around the bottom of that hotel has like Mont Blanc and a couple like nice luxury
Stores.
brands, and they hang some of the stuff in the closet. So if you forget your raincoat and you want this $2,000 coat,
But you have to buy it?
You'd have to buy it. But they have a couple.
That's
things
smart,
in there.
though.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll wear the robe.
Yeah.
But I do want the $150 Shinola Detroit robe.
Yeah.
But I like that hotel just because I feel like there's no luxury. Like, there's like a Westin, whatever, which I've stayed there too. But like, I would only say that the Shinola is cool.
Yeah, it's
just, like,
it's
trendy.
authentically Detroit too.
Yeah, and it's
you
just
know?
like different.
It's a historic building. It's a cool brand. All of their branding is really like on point too. Like I agree with you. Detroit is prime for more luxury hotels.
Yeah, we need more.
Yeah, we need more. Yeah, that's what I'm
'Cause
saying. In the surrounding community, there's several, but
If you're going to Birmingham.
Exactly.
But like downtown, I'm like, I don't want to stay downtown if I'm not staying at the Shinola.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like I feel like Shinola-
there's room for a lot of growth right now in Detroit.
But there's
for
so
the
much
luxury
money
market.
there.
And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of a really, really nice
Restaurants?
food scene.
Yes.
Really organic, kind of what was happening in Brooklyn.
Maybe that should be your next thing.
Yeah.
You'd be
It's
so
happening in
good to
Detroit.
start like a bougie ass hotel in Detroit. What's your biggest hotel ick?
Oh gosh, my biggest one. When you look at the mirror and you can tell it was only washed, like from like where they could reach, like, and then you see like kind of like sometimes you can see dust, like on part of the. You know what I mean? What's your biggest ick at a hotel?
My biggest ick? No robe. No, I'm kidding. I do judge a no robe. You know what I hate? Which is totally going to show that I do not stay at the Waldorf. I don't like when they don't have freaking like coffee.
Yeah, that's a union thing because the housekeepers don't want to have to take care of coffee makers.
I don't want to go to a hotel and make a cup of coffee.
No.
I don't even drink coffee that often. But on vacation, I want one.
Yeah.
And if it's at 2 in the afternoon, I still want it at 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's like a really poor version of an ick.
I agree. No coffee makers in the room. That is a really good one.
You know what's my
Cocktail.
biggest ick? This is like not even ick wise. I'm just annoyed with this. When you go to an all inclusive and like we don't start serving until 11. I'm like, I feel like a dog that's in a kennel right now.
Why?
This has only happened to me one time. It just seems cheap to me.
Okay.
Which it probably
is-
was.
Here is something that everyone should do when they go through duty free.
Get
When
their
you land,
drinks.
you get a bottle of something that you love and you have it in your room. I don't know. Sometimes you just want to pour yourself a drink and you don't want to have to wait.
Which is why I love the Shinola too, because their minibar is not just like trash.
It's a solid mini
It's a good one, yeah.
I was just at the Wall Street Hotel and I loved their little mini bar in their room too. It was totally.
Like they had mixers too. It wasn't just like
Yes.
here's a random.
They had sweet
Absolute.
vermouth. They had dry
Yeah.
vermouth. They had like all the things in the cutest little bottles.
Yeah, like whatever you need is here. Because I know when we went to the Shinola the first time we got off a flight from New York City, this was the same time that we went to the Plaza and were homeless. And we went directly to the Shinola because I was playing this 30th birthday party for Anthony. And it was going to be at the Highlands, which is like top of the Renaissance.
yeah.
Well, so I booked the Shinola to stay at. But he didn't know what we were doing because it was a surprise. But we're like leaving the airport and going directly to there. So I'm like, I don't have time to go down to the lobby, get a drink. Like I'm trying to get ready to go out. 'Cause
Yeah.
we were at a wedding yesterday. Now I have airport staleness. But the bar was there. It was all ready. But he's like eating all these snacks. I'm like, This tab is like racking up right now, and
For sure.
you're about to go to this bougie birthday party that you don't even know about.
Sometimes just even
The convenience is
the
worth it.
convenience is worth it, and it's just special because when else do you make like a drink in your room?
Right.
You know,
No,
and
you don't,
you
because
just
they
don't.
give you
It's
crappy
special.
stuff. That's the ick.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, bro, you're such a hillbilly. I'm like, I just want coffee in the lobby.
No, that's true. That's true.
Who's the celebrity guest that like totally needed to be kicked out?
I don't know anyone that's like really needed to be kicked out.
Did you have the housewives ever in there?
I'm sure we did. Fun fact about me is I am really bad at recognizing celebrities. Like,
Really?
real bad. I was on the elevator with John Voight, Angelina Jolie's dad, and I didn't know it was him. You know,
Oh, right.
I got off the elevator, my colleague was like, that was John Voight. And I was like, who's that? You know, I just was like, I was almost like the perfect person to work in that environment because I was never like starstruck. There was a tennis player, the US Open was always in New York, and the tennis players would always stay at the Waldorf, or some of them would. And I had this shift called like lobby duty where you had to like stand in the lobby and be like, oh, are you looking for the front desk? It's over here, or the gift shop's over here.
Was that awkward?
It was just kind of like you only had to do it for like an hour, kind of in the evening,
Oh.
especially when people were coming in for galas. Like, where is the Rock and Roll Hall of
Wedding,
Fame?
or whatever.
Up the stairs to
Okay.
the ballroom. You know, just kind of like helping people. So it was kind of fun. You got to see people come in like all in their tuxedos and dressed up. And this one guy came up to me and said, "Where can I smoke?" I'm like, "Oh, sir, there's no smoking in the hotel. You can walk out the doors to Park Avenue and have a cigarette there." "Excuse me." He's like, "You don't know who I am." I'm like, "I'm so sorry." You know, like still like 23-year-old right out of Michigan State, standing in the lobby in a nice suit and heels and pearls, you know, like just trying to like play by the rules. It was like, Andre Agassi,
Who?
a famous tennis player during the U.S. Open. Andre Agassi was like, I need to smoke. Like, I don't know if whatever happened, but he was like trying to tell me like he needed like a secret place to go have a cigarette. Like a famous athlete can't just like go out in Park Avenue and like have a cigarette during the U.S. Open.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So,
Was there a secret cig room?
I mean, there always can be, you know, like I feel like we would always take Brad
You're like,
and
just
Angelina
smoke
to
in
like
your
the
room
private
and-
balcony. The
Oh,
rooms
they did?
he would.
Brad smoked up there? Or they just did things?
They always
everyone-
had to have a room with a balcony. But we would always like help celebrities like find a little balcony or something. But I didn't know he was.
Who he was?
Yeah, I didn't know who he was.
Who was the rudest?
I was planning a wedding, $1 million wedding. He lived in Australia. They called me on their flight from Australia to New York. We're landing in a couple hours. We need to see the suite that we're staying in on the wedding night. This was the father of the bride. I was like, I'm so sorry, that suite's occupied. You know, I can show you something similar. And he just would not let it go. He needed to see the exact suite. We had like, you know, 100 different types of suites. And they were all a little bit different. One was Cole Porter's suite. One was JFK's suite. One was the true presidential suite. You know, it was there was a lot of different types of suites with like different vibes. He's like, I need to see this exact suite. Screamed at me in the lobby, like screamed.
Wait, so he knew it was you on the phone, and then he also knew it was
Yes,
in
and
the
then
lobby?
and then showed up, and I was like, you couldn't have given me like 24. You had to get on the plane. You know, like the time difference to travel from Australia. Like I should have had more notice. We could have blocked the room and showed you. And he just screamed like he needed to see this like exact suite that they were going to stay in. Then we couldn't show him. He literally lost his mind. Just made a giant scene in the lobby.
Wait, what's the most luxury thing that you refuse to live without now?
A couple things. I really like a nice coffee maker. I want to have Sonos. I want music that was like not loud in one room, just so you can hear it in another room. I want like music everywhere.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When you're entertaining, you want to hear just like a subtle music. You don't want
Yeah.
it to just be like loud in the kitchen just so people can hear it outside. Like, you know, quality music.
What is the best Waldorf location?
Like the Waldorf in Amsterdam, the Waldorf Astoria, Amsterdam.
That's it?
It's right on the canal, not in like the main area of Amsterdam, like on like a kind of like a side canal. It's just charming, and yeah, I think that's an incredible
Is
location.
it massive?
No, it's like 90 rooms.
Okay.
So it's
Because I'm like picturing Amsterdam, because I went there when I did my study abroad. And I'm like, I don't imagine like anything just being like this massive resort.
no, it's not. It's not massive. It's a city hotel, you know. But I think Amsterdam's also just like a cool city.
Oh, it's so cool.
I mean, it's people think of it as like just like a gateway into Europe, but I think it could be the destination as well. There's so
Oh,
much
there's
to do
so
there.
much to do, and the people are so nice. What is the current trendiest vacation destination? Like, what's everybody just dying to go to? What's cool? What's in?
There's like this new trend instead of like jet setting, they're
Yeah.
like set jetting. You know, like following the set of the TV.
Okay.
And they want to like have that same experience like Emily in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I want to do what she did. Like, I love that life. The producers did like such a good job showing like the food and the local life and, you know, everything about like a city that people wouldn't necessarily think about. Like the average person wouldn't think about. I think about all these things all the time.
Yeah.
So people are seeing things on TV, Emily in Paris, White Lotus, and really like gravitating towards that. I think that's what people are looking for is like under tourism, like somewhere where they can have this like these intimate moments, but have a cultural experience too.
Your guys' Yellowstone trip was like crazy.
Yep, we did Yellowstone and Grand Teton, and sometimes you just want to stay somewhere that's really going to resonate. We stayed, you know, in a hot springs, you know, place. So like
Were you in like a yurt?
one time we were in a yurt.
Yeah.
Yep. And in Yellowstone, that was a really cool experience.
You guys were like covered wagon. I'm like
we
following
stayed in a
I'm
covered
like,
wagon.
The
We
Nuoffers are
stayed
on
in,
this
like, a luxury
wild trip.
tent,
Yeah.
and so we did a couple nights in the covered wagon, a couple nights in the yurt, and then a couple nights in one more like kind of cabiny place that was really fun for the kids, and then we ended in like a luxury hotel in Jackson Hole to like, you know, finish
Yeah,
right.
you're like, all right, let's bring us back.
Finish right, and then we flew home from Jackson Hole. So that was like a nice, yeah.
Mix of everything.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
trip looked awesome.
That was
like right
August.
when I met you.
Yes.
I feel like, and I'm like, where are the Nuoffers going right
That
now?
week right before football starts. And we missed the first football game, and I thought the kids were going to be in so much trouble.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, we planned this 9 months ago.
I know. I'm like, I'm not mad that you guys aren't here because your trip looks insane. But also, like, what is happening with you in Yellowstone? This is like the most ridiculous trip I've ever seen.
I was like, just don't get eaten by a bear. But that's why you hire a local guide as well. Because I would have, if I didn't hire a local guide, I would have been so nervous. We would have been like,
Oh yeah, like just like scared and have anxiety the whole time.
yes, like what if we see a bear? I'm not prepared. And yeah, so it was incredible. But hire a local guide. I'll tell you who
She
we
knows
use.
the guy.
I'll tell you who we use.
What is the biggest rich person flex that you just secretly love?
I always feel like when we go to a hotel lobby that I have to like tell my kids to like be in your best behavior.
In the lobby?
Yeah, or like just be quiet or something like that.
And the rich people are just like, go ham.
Yes.
They are?
Yes.
That's my vibe.
Just like go, just do your thing, you know. And I'm just like, I'm always like, you have to like act a certain way. You can't say a certain thing, you know. You just are always kind of like, I always feel like I'm working a little bit.
yeah,
you know?
like you're like, don't embarrass me here.
Yeah, don't embarrass me. But then when you see like some celebrity come in with their kids and they're just like, we've done this 1,000 times. This isn't. I'm just like, I need to be easier on my kids when we're in nice places.
I feel like I'm like that. Maybe people think I'm rich, but I'm at the Super 8. They're like, homegirl.
They're like, she's
Her kids are
flexing
so rich.
so hard right now.
No, I'm totally kidding. That's actually such a great one because it's not. I thought you were gonna be like, ooh, and people have their whatever thing that we don't have. It's
Yeah.
like just the freedom to be like, I don't
Just
give a
be
shit.
who you are.
Yeah.
Just be who you
My
are.
kids are having fun.
Yeah.
And they're kind of crazy.
Yeah.
'Cause they're kids.
And it's like imposter syndrome, right? We're supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. Right? Versus like, shh, you know, like have you not done this before? You know, it's just
Yeah.
like, it doesn't matter. Like, we earned the right to be here.
That's awesome. That was so awesome. I love hearing your advice. Your story is so fun and just interesting. And I love that you've experienced all of that. I'm like excited just listening to it. But yeah, thank you so much for just all of your insight and stories. And obviously, if you're looking for this kind of vacation, Jen's your girl.
I've done it, and I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
This
connected.
is awesome. You're the best.
So much fun.
If you like this episode, Jennifer's socials and her website are going to be in the show notes. If you were looking for that extra special vacation, she is going to make it happen for you. So make sure you follow her, connect with her. I have seen these trips. Trust me, she has been in a covered wagon. Her kids were doing like gladiator training in the Coliseum. Like, she really nails it all. So go follow her, share this with someone you know, and please give us a review.